About a year ago, I analyzed the first season of Tangled the series, and it was surprisingly great. It was so good, I binged the entire series on Disney+. So I'm back for round 2. Season 2 of Rapunzel'stangledadventure is a 2018 Lovecraftian horror musical. It follows Princess Rapunzel and her entourage as they go on a road trip to find the source of the deadly moon rocks. Sounds like a breeze, right? Well, it's surprisingly dark. Like, some of the ideas it presents are pretty disturbing. Before we dive in, 2 things. 1, there will be spoilers. And 2, this analysis assumes you've seen my previous Tangled video, so I recommend you watch that first. Anyway, let's do this. The season begins with Team Rapunzel going down the Oregon Trail. Flynn tries proposing to Blondie, but that's quickly sidestepped by their pit stop to Varderos, a city ruled by crime. Flynn and his pal get kidnapped by his ex-girlfriend Stallion. A mysterious warrior named Adira drops in, whose appearance would totally fit the Witcher series. She's a black rock expert, but withholds all relevant information until it's dramatically convenient. Stallion poisons Lance. If Flynn doesn't marry her in 24 hours, then Lance is gone. Team Blondie crashes Stallion's wedding and frees both Disney dudes. Adira gives them the second piece of the Sun and Moon scroll. She warns them of the Dark Kingdom, but Raps and Flynn sing a duet of reassurance. Let's talk about the music. Now, the first season started off strong, but a few tracks left a lot to be desired. It barely made use of Eugene and Cassandra's singing abilities. This time around, they're much more involved, which is a welcome change. My only issue is that some episode dialogue interrupts the flow. Otherwise, it's banger central. So, season 2 is off to a great start so far. Well, it was. You see, there's a lot of filler, and most of it isn't terribly interesting. It follows the season 1 structure of having story-intensive episodes, some wacky filler, and a few overarching clues. Season 1 struck a good balance among the 3. Season 2 is 60% filler. Now, I'm fine with episodes that veer off the main path. You know, explore the characters, expand the world, etc. My issue is, most are aimless, and like the sharp writing from last time, they bring the pacing to a screeching halt. For example, right after Team Blondie defeats Flynn's ex-girlfriend, they stay in Varderos for 2 bland episodes. They reinstate the sheriff and host an obstacle course. Like, yeah, you restored a city from crime. How does this advance your goal to the Dark Kingdom? I don't blame you if you skip these episodes. On the bright side, a few filler stories were pretty good. In the bird episode, Raps and Cass meet a shady couple and turn into ladybirds. Cass says, "Dude, I'm really nervous about flying." And Raps is like, "Oh, it's okay, we'll sing about it." We get some major development between both women, more on that later. I also like the stories on Hookfoot. He hits on a mermaid one time, it doesn't end well. And he later reconnects with his brother Hookhand. That was kinda sweet, but that's about it. The next major story beat occurs at the Spire. Cassandra gets mistaken for Blondie's mother, despite being 23 years old.
Spyro?
Do you have a scroll or not? Yes!
Moms can be impatient.
Mom? I'm 4 years older than her!
Team Blondie recovers the third piece to the ancient scroll. So far, you're like, Trey, this show doesn't seem that dark. Don't worry, we're getting to the good stuff. Team Rapunzel comes upon a haunted tree. Adira explains she disobeyed the Brotherhood. Their mission is protect the Moondrop, an opal that gives the user direct control of the black stalagmites. It's basically a Chaos Emerald. Oh, and Adira's kinsmen are hunting her down. Team Blondie enters the Great Deku Tree. Eugene and Lance inhale flower PCP and hallucinate a Broadway duet. Meanwhile, the ladies find a hidden scroll room. Rapunzel reads the Decay Incantation, the inverse of the Healing Incantation. She turns goth and sucks the life force from the room. The eerie sound design, along with the excellent hair animation, makes this a chilling scene. It's my favorite moment from season 2. Adira knocks Raps out of her trance. They rescue Flynn and Lance from their hallucination. Cass sings her solo song, Waiting in the Wings. She's frustrated with never getting the glory, despite on numerous occasions being more than capable. She's constantly told to wait, always getting outshined by Raps and crew. The Brotherhood dude ambushes the group and awakens the evil tree spirit. Cassandra jumps into the fray to stop him, but Rapunzel sidesteps her. Blondie activates dark mode once again. It works a little too well and almost topples the tree. Cass breaks the trance, but has her right arm singed in the process. Did I mention this is part body horror? Team Blondie escapes the collapsing tree. You're probably wondering, doesn't Rapunzel know the healing incantation? Well, she lost her healing property at the end of the movie, and as far as the show's concerned, she doesn't regain it. It's weird they never bring that up. Team Blondie crashes at a magic hotel and a bunch of dark stuff goes down. After Team Rapunzel escapes, Cassandra exits through this magic door. Nobody knows what happened, but she's probably seen a life-changing event. While we're here, let's talk about the thematic meat of the season. Last time, it was Varian's fragile psyche. It asked how a desperate innocent person can easily seduce himself to the dark side. It was honestly a great arc. This season, we focus on Cassandra and her straining friendship with Rapunzel. It's not as impactful as the Varian arc, but raises some interesting points. Season 2 explores how feelings of inadequacy and pride can drive one to betrayal. Cassandra is a capable 23-year-old handmaiden. She's reserved and skeptical, or Rapunzel acts with utmost optimism. Naturally, they clash on a semi-regular basis. One time, the team holds a festival. Cassandra's more violent attractions outshine Blondie's ideas. Rapunzel enviously builds this deadly obstacle course. Eugene handcuffs the bickering women together, and they defeat this monster through the power of friendship. Or that other time, Blondie loses her memory and Cass has to babysit her. Blondie's like, so, what's your favorite musical? And Cass is like, well, I saw Hamilton. No way, dude, that's my favorite. It leans into the idea that both are sisters. Throughout her whole life, she's proud of her skills, but rarely gets thanked for her contributions. She has plenty of world experience, but the team favors Blondie's ideas, which sometimes result in reckless behavior. Let's not forget in the Tree two-parter, Cassandra sees the chance to do something worthwhile, but Rapunzel pulls her back for her safety. Cass and Blondie argue whose judgment was right, but Blondie shuts her down.
Since when did you stop trusting my judgment?
You are the closest thing that I will ever have to a big sister. I am going to be queen someday. I'm going to make decisions that you're going to disagree with. I need you to be okay with that.
After feeling inadequate for so long, Cass soon decided enough was enough. So, this season did a great job exploring Cassandra's inferiority complex. This sounds almost as good as Varian's arc. Just a teeny problem. It doesn't take up much screen time. For a 9-hour season, it only factors in a sixth of that length. And that's a shame because I think they could have played more of that angle. But instead, we got Rapunzel becoming a wrestler and also believing she's cursed. In the next final episode, Rapunzel and Eugene meet this monkey. He gets possessed by the spirit of Lord Demanitus, the author of the Sun and Moon Scroll. He leads them through a dangerous maze. They retrieve the last scroll piece. Flynn receives a warning, which states someone from Team Rapunzel will betray her. I wonder who that be. In the Season 2 finale, Team Blondie arrives at the Dark Kingdom. The Brotherhood ambushes them. Flynn is shocked when he finds out he has a long-lost father, King Edmund. Flynn was a Disney prince all along. That kinda strips him of his everyman appeal. Edmund explains the moondrop fell on his backyard eons ago and made his kingdom uninhabitable. His family swore to defend the Moonstone from nefarious hands. He asked Flynn to destroy the Chaos Emerald, insisting if Rapunzel grabs it, she's toast. Conflicted, Eugene sinks through an identity crisis. I mean, it took him 9 years to get a solo song, but it was totally worth it. He goes to heck with his royal son nonsense, because prince or no prince, he's still Eugene. Team Rapunzel defeats Edmund's ghastly ancestors. Rapunzel, Eugene, and Cassandra make it to the chamber housing the Chaos Emerald. Blondie reaches for the stone, but Cass snatches it away. Cassandra assimilates its power and adopts a blue color scheme. She's like, you know Blondie, I'm sick of you always overshadowing me. I'm gonna take this Chaos Emerald and get the best songs in the show. And the season ends on a cliffhanger. Season 2 is an odd case. It's weighed down by some pacing issues, tedious filler, and a story hook that isn't as strong as its predecessor. However, it's saved by a stronger soundtrack, gorgeous art direction, and stellar voice acting. Cass's growth may be on the back burner, but it was still satisfying to see. Also, I adored the dark ideas they presented. This leads me to the first highlight. Firstly, Gothic Supreme. See, I told you this show was dark. I mean, look at Rapunzel's Gothic palette swap. That's a good fit for her. Secondly, Filler to the Brim. Monotonous filler is this season's kryptonite. Lastly, Banger Central. Eugene and Cassandra's increased song presence make this soundtrack way more enjoyable. I'm rating this season a 3.25 out of 5. Don't get me wrong, it's still decent. It just couldn't live up to the high bar set by its predecessor. Thankfully, Season 3 rectifies all these shortcomings. And don't worry, I'll cover that in the near future. But for now, let's close this chapter.